Welcome to our journey through one of the most famous stories from the Bible, Noah's Ark and the Flood. This story, found in the book of Genesis, has been a source of inspiration and reflection for thousands of years. Today, we'll explore the historical context, the biblical narrative, and the lessons we can learn from this incredible story. To understand the story of Noah, we first need to set the scene. The story takes place in the ancient world, around the region we now know as Mesopotamia. This area, rich in history and culture, was known for its rivers, fertile lands, and early civilizations. Mesopotamia, often referred to as the cradle of civilization, was home to some of the earliest known human settlements, including Sumer, Akkad, Babylon, and Assyria. The ancient Mesopotamians had their own flood stories, which bear similarities to the biblical account of Noah. For instance, the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known pieces of literature, includes a flood narrative where the gods decide to destroy humanity with a great flood, but a man named Utnapishtim is chosen to build a boat to save his family and animals. This parallel suggests that the concept of a great flood was widespread in ancient cultures and highlights the enduring significance of the Noah story. According to the Bible, humanity had become corrupt and wicked. Genesis 6:5 tells us that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. This widespread moral decay saddened God, and he decided to cleanse the earth. The moral state of the world had reached a point where it could no longer be ignored. Violence and corruption were rampant, and the people's hearts were far from God. The Bible paints a picture of a society that had turned away from its Creator, indulging in sinful behaviors and ignoring divine laws. This context is crucial to understanding why God chose to intervene so drastically. The story emphasizes that God's decision was not taken lightly, but was a response to the pervasive evil that had taken hold of humanity. In the midst of this corruption, there was one man who stood out for his righteousness: Noah. Genesis 6:8 says, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." Noah was a man of integrity and faith, living in stark contrast to the world around him. God chose Noah to build an ark to save himself, his family, and two of every kind of animal from the impending flood. Noah's selection highlights the biblical theme of divine grace. Despite the overwhelming wickedness, God recognized Noah's faithfulness and chose to preserve a remnant of humanity and animal life through him. This choice underscores the importance of individual righteousness and obedience in a world gone astray. God gave Noah specific instructions on how to build the ark. It was to be made of gopher wood, with rooms inside, and covered with pitch. The ark was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. These dimensions made the ark a massive structure, capable of housing Noah's family and a vast array of animals. Despite the enormous task and the likely ridicule from his neighbors, Noah obeyed God's commands without question. The construction of the ark was no small feat. It required immense faith and perseverance from Noah and his family. They had to gather the materials, construct the ark according to God's specifications, and prepare for an event that had never before occurred in human history. This period likely tested their resolve and faith, but Noah's unwavering commitment to God's instructions serves as a powerful example of steadfast obedience. When the ark was finished, Noah, his family, and the animals entered it. Genesis 7:11-12 describes how all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. The floodwaters rose, covering even the highest mountains and destroying all living things outside the ark. The biblical account details the magnitude of the flood. It was not just a heavy rain, but a cataclysmic event involving both torrential rain from above and the bursting forth of subterranean waters. This dual source of flooding emphasizes the totality of the deluge and its devastating impact on the earth. The narrative conveys the sense of divine judgment and the seriousness of the situation. After 150 days, the waters began to recede, and the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah sent out a raven and then a dove to see if the land was dry. Finally, the dove returned with an olive leaf, signaling that it was safe to leave the ark. The resting of the ark on Mount Ararat marks the beginning of a new chapter. The symbolism of the olive leaf, a sign of new life and peace, reassured Noah and his family that the earth was being restored. This moment highlights the transition from judgment to renewal and sets the stage for humanity's second chance. Noah built an altar to the Lord and offered sacrifices. God blessed Noah and his sons, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth." Genesis 9:1. God made a covenant with Noah, promising never to flood the earth again, and setting a rainbow in the sky as a sign of this promise. The covenant with Noah is one of the earliest covenants in the Bible, establishing a foundational promise from God to humanity. The rainbow serves as a visible reminder of God's mercy and faithfulness. This new beginning for Noah's family represents hope and the opportunity to build a better world guided by divine principles. The story of Noah's Ark is rich with symbolism and lessons. It teaches us about faith and obedience as Noah followed God's commands despite the odds. It also speaks of judgment and mercy, reminding us that while there are consequences for sin, God's love and promises endure. Faith and obedience are central themes in Noah's story. Noah's willingness to act on God's instructions despite the lack of immediate evidence and the potential for ridicule exemplifies true faith. This lesson is timeless, encouraging us to trust in divine guidance even when the path ahead is uncertain. Judgment and mercy are intertwined in the narrative. The flood represents divine judgment on a corrupt world, but Noah's preservation and the subsequent covenant illustrate God's mercy and commitment to redemption. This balance of justice and grace is a recurring theme in the Bible, offering a profound understanding of God's nature. Noah's Ark and the flood is more than just a story from ancient times. It's a powerful reminder of the importance of faith, obedience, and hope. As we reflect on Noah's journey, let's remember that no matter the storms we face, there is always a promise of a new beginning. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Noah's Ark and the flood. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more biblical stories and insights. Until next time, stay inspired and keep the faith.